be a very big event there that they have for Babani. So that same day, Seun Olota, a musician and activist, also had a show there that was he had a talk, and he also performed on stage during the reception. Dr. Dele from Lagos State University, Shetolu, who also gave a talk, and Comrade Soweto was the moderator. Well, I mean, these are all in the past, and then there was a reception where Orlando Owoson led his band to perform for Baba. Because I said he met him when he was a little kid, that his father actually took him to him to say, help me to mentor this guy. And then you had Roy and the Afrobeat group. They also performed there. So tomorrow it should be at the Bedu village in Ayobo, Bedu Music Village, where it's been hosted to a session of another concert, but a more relaxed one, if you know the style of Bedu. Now, that is about wrapping up Baba Leko Animation. But what is very important is what the man said he wanted to do. He said at this stage of his life, he wants to launch three the way he phrased it, he said he wants a building to house a foundation, that Babani Foundation. In that foundation too will be the Babani Music School, and there will be the Babani Recording Studios. So that is his dream at 85. And I hope Nigerians and the world will rally around this old man to help him to really achieve his plan. That is his plan. That's what he wants to do in his life. So we need to give him all the support. Yeah. So if you're just joining us, this is Culture Train, and we're just recapping what has gone. And then I will move to what is coming. But just after taking a short music break now, then I'll tell you what is coming. And then we go into the Culture Train proper for the week, where we're treating two subjects, art for restitution, and we'll be dealing with art arising, and then we'll be dealing with a return to Idoto, number 3, the 3.0 edition of that. Thank you. This is German again on Culture Train. I'll stand by us. Thank you. Who are on Zoom, and then to let you know that we're reaching you live from Spirit of Nigeria Radio. We're trying to do some things there because a major exhibition opened today, and we're trying to get them to be on the on Zoom and as well on radio. So if you're listening to me, I would like to say welcome to all of you who are here. We're not many, but we're being heard generally on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora up to speed. Now, let me tell you about what is going to happen. I opened by telling you of what has gone. Now the celebration of Leko Animation Babani at 85. It's taking 10 days and it will end tomorrow. This week, there is the play Aremu. Of course, Aremu, written by the Duke of Shomolu, that's what we call him. And I mean, it's been produced by the Duke of Shomolu, was written and directed by Professor Ahmed Yerima. The play Aremu, of course, if you know the meaning of Aremu, it means that the play was written to celebrate the life of Olusegun Obasanjo, the one we call OO, the double O. The play is being staged in Lagos here. It will be on stage from the 22nd, which is tomorrow, up to 29th of August. What is important about this play is that we've been saying that we don't get to have so many plays about our people who are in our national life, the characters in our national life. In other places, you'll have seen so many literary materials on presidents and prime ministers, or even ministers and religious leaders and co. But our art does not seem to thrive on that yet, and that we need to start getting to put there, because if you really want to get the younger generation involved in affairs of the national life, you have to put all those characters out there so that many of them will be able to relate to them. We don't do that enough. I've not seen Aremu, but I know Professor Ahmed Yerima's plays. I know that it's not a play that's likely to be glorifying anybody. I hope the play will do justice to the character of Olusegun Obasanjo. And I'm told that he actually even gave, he gave his words. I mean, he gave his blessing to the play, which means that he's satisfied with the play. Whether the play is now very much like what we like to have or not is what I cannot say. But Aremu, the play, will be on from 22nd to 29th at the Glover Memorial Hall in Lagos. Glover Memorial Hall itself is over 100 years old. Yeah. On the 29th, on the 9th of September, the second play, 9th to 12th, and 9th and 12th of September, will be the play Awo. And Awo is directed by Makinde Adeno, written by him, and he's directing it. And Awo, of course, Awo, the man is Jewel, and I don't know what the and is leading to, but it means that another play on a national character is being staged. I love this kind of plays because, as I've said, they help us to properly contextualize our history, which is what we don't do enough. We do a lot of fiction and the rest of them, but we need to really get some of this material into plays, into films, because as we normally say, a lot of our young people may not necessarily have opportunity to encounter the books in which these people have been written. But when you put it on stage, on screen, you then begin to understand who they are, so that they too can begin to become, to participate in our national discourse. There's so many things to talk about Nigeria, to even start to understand why where we are. I don't want to sound like the number 2 in Abuja, where we need to put all of this into context. The plays have been produced by Joseph Edgar, the one they call the Duke of Shomolu. But it's the Duke of Shomolu production. And you know Joseph Edgar, he takes no prisoner. He does his plays and he doesn't care who the play is, who is affected or not affected. So that is for Aremu and Awo. Those two plays are coming. Nigeria also, we're extending our reach in Canada. There are a lot of Canadian artists who want to be part of what is going on here. They have showed that they want to bring. There are musicians who want to come and perform here, but they have no information about what is going on here. Last week, something happened in Osogbo. There was a national discourse around Osogbo, and the context of that discourse was the lecturer, Professor Felix Omidire, the director of Institute of African Studies in Obafemi Awolowo University. What he was saying was that we have all these cultural resources that we are not marketing enough, and all we need to do is put all these things, package them very well, and ensure that they get to the attention of the world. There's a lot of money to be made. When we think about generating employment, it shouldn't be just about brick and mortar, about industry, the way we conceive of industry and co. It could be our culture. In fact, our greatest material, our greatest resources are the cultural material that we have. Our art, our culture, our heritage. You know, we have it in abundance, but we don't properly market them. So what was done by my executive producer last week was to put a discourse around Osun Osogbo and to ensure that people get to know how they can, how Osun Osogbo, for instance, can become an international festival. And my intervention when we were on the program last week was that we have so many of these festivals there. Just imagine that we have all these festivals packaged for international consumption. Imagine how many people will be employed, how much money they will be making, how many people you pull out of the brink of poverty. It may not solve the full problem, but at least it will help to give some young people some job. Look at what movies, what we call Nollywood have done. Look at what music have done. Look at what our fashion is doing. But we've not even gone to theater, to literature proper. Even though we've won all the prizes in literature, we've not really packaged our literature. People still publish books and they sell 500, 1,000. In the country, Lagos alone is over 22 million. Nigeria is over 200 million. And we cannot boast of any book actually selling in millions. So all of these things have to do with packaging. If you need to get some industry support around some of these products to make sure that they get to the world, you need to do them. So what is happening in Canada is that all these artists who have been making inquiries about Nigeria, that they want to know what is happening in Nigeria, in Africa in general, but particularly in Nigeria, because they see Nigeria as a big market. They want to know what opportunities are there for them. So a Nigerian lady singer, trained jazz artist, actress, well, at one point one of the topmost black actresses in Europe, and in Nigeria, I'm from Edo State. She had decided to put together a concert, what you call learn about how African Canadian artists can access gigs in Africa and Canada. So there are a lot of people who will be discussing there, but many of them are people who package shows. You have Lucy Laird, who is a music journalist, artist based in Kenya, who has been taking artists abroad, and she will be leading one of the sessions. There's the artist manager, Alex Boissel. Alex Boissel is a legend of music promotion, and he's been doing it forever. I mean, I think he's originally from Guyana, but he's sort of made Côte d'Ivoire his home. And he wants to penetrate Nigeria. He's always talking about celebration, about all the concerts happening, that he wants to bring Canadian artists. But Alex alone can take like 25 artists to Massa. Massa is market for performing arts in Abidjan. They do it every 2 years. The next one is March. He's been taking a lot of, and every time I see him, I say, Alex, why are you not thinking of Nigeria? I said, Nigeria is a big case. It's difficult to access Nigeria. So Alex will be talking is the head of Afro Mundo, and he'll be representing Senegal, even though he's based in the US. He's been packaging a lot of artists, and there's Doug Cox, who is into marketing. He's a festival presenter and marketer, and he also is based in Canada, but he's trying to penetrate Nigeria to see what they can bring to Africa, especially Nigeria. They always talk about Nigeria as the place that they want to come to. Then there's Rhyme Sonny. Rhyme Sonny is like the #1 performance poet. Well, let me take that back. Maybe after Professor Kofi Anyido is Rhyme Sonny, because Rhyme Sonny is big in Ghana, in Ghana's spoken word poetry, singing and music, and he will also be talking from Ghana. Of course, yours truly will be speaking for Nigeria, since I'm involved in some way in some packaging and things there. So this will be happening on Thursday, August 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I think that should be about 9 p.m. Nigerian time. I hope I got that right. But Eastern time means that's not West African time. And all these people will be talking. If you follow me on my Facebook, with a German Oladejo Anikulapo or German Oladejo, you'll be able to see more information about this. There's a website which I'll quote before we leave which we can also log in. So in case you are into art promotion, in case you are an artist, feel free to join in and see what opportunity will be discussed about Canada, about Senegal, about Kenya, about Ghana. Opportunity for Nigerian artists too to take their art out there. An opportunity for these people who want to come to Nigeria to bring artists there and make sure that they have some kind of linkage with us. We hope that to be done. Now, I mentioned Massa. Massa is market for performing arts in Africa, and it happens in Côte d'Ivoire every 2 years. As a matter of fact, the last one ended in March 2019, and Nigeria shut down. But most parts of the world shut down. Massa will be happening in March 2022. I'm sorry. They put out the call for entries for artists. They always complain that Nigerian artists from West Africa generally don't even participate. They don't put in enough. So now they've extended the deadline for submission. So if you're an artist who wants to take your art outside of here, to market it outside of here, to be part of Massa, please check on www.massa.ci. Massa is MASI. SA.ci. CI means Côte d'Ivoire. www.massa.ci. That's Massa, market for African Performing Arts happening in Abidjan in March 2022. And the deadline had been extended to August 30. Part of the concern was that they didn't get enough entry from West Africa. And you cannot talk of African music and African performing art without talking of West Africa. This is where we have it. Nigeria alone can generate over 250 different strands, but they don't see us. We don't participate. Ghanaians don't participate. People from Senegal and Cote, they don't participate. So they've extended it. So www.massa.ci. Now, today we'll be talking about Art Arising. It's a major event that just opened. It opened this afternoon, but because they were not able to wait for us at 6 o'clock, I was trying to tell them that if you still be on by 6 o'clock, we can take you live. But they said they had to open the event anyway. So they opened. So what I've done is to record some of them on video. I'm trying to see if I can share the video here. Otherwise, we just do this the audio. I'll fix that now. When I take a short break, a short music break, then I'll be back, and then we will be joining Art Arising. After that, we'll be going to Idoto. Idoto is in Anambra State, in Oka, Anambra State. And Idoto is the home of that legendary poet, late. Poet activist eventually, because he joined the Biafra army and he was killed in the course of that war. Christopher Okigbo. Some poets are gathered there now who are giving honor to him. They started some 3 years ago, and it's a huge event in terms of even the context of the show itself, to return people back to where Christopher Okigbo, what inspired Christopher Okigbo's poetry. It was one of our best, and it remains one of our best. So we'll be joining them too under the theme Art for Restitution. And now Art for Restitution means that art that helps us to reposition art in the consciousness of the public. That's what Art Arising is. They want to reposition, to confer status on art, visual art, performing art, poetry, the rest of them. That's for repositioning. But for us to discover and to restitute, to discover our past, our legacy, they want to do that, and that will be happening. That's what Return to Idoto 3 will be doing, and I'll be talking extensively with that. I'm going to call up some of the poets who are there. Poets like James Eze. You need to listen to James Eze's poetry, lyrical, simply lyrical. And then you need to listen to Daggar Tolar, very, very activism based, but a lot of sense, Pan-Africanist extraordinaire. And Anote Ajeluorou, who is a journalist, writer. If I almost won $100,000 of the Nigerian Prize for Literature. But I'll be back with them. This is still KULTURE TRAIN on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring Nigerian and African diaspora up to speed. I'll be back shortly. So, kí ni mo fẹ́ ṣe báyìí? Bàbá yẹn ti ṣe sọ pé kó. Ìdí àwọn bàbá lè ṣe. Hello again. This is Culture Train, reaching you from Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora up to speed. Here we broadcast to the world, to the diaspora world, because our intention, our objective is to get the diaspora, African diaspora, to be interested in what is going on the continent. It's not every time that we just expect them to send in dollars and euros or pounds or whatever. We want them to show enough interest in what is going on here. And I'm happy that here in this room I have Dr. Wale Okigbo, who is there in Ghana. He's the Secretary General of Power, Pan-African Writers Association. And that's what he's doing. He's beginning to link the West African world together. Before you came in, sir, I was saying that the world is saying that they don't get to see much of Nigeria, much of West Africa in what they're doing there. And so they're trying to see how they can come in. But I'll get to that eventually. Well, we have a double barrel today, even though we're discussing art for restitution. Art for restitution means that repositioning the art, which is represented by the first festival I'll be treating now, which is Art Arising Art Festival, where they're trying to reposition the art in the consciousness of the public to make sure that the art become a staple in our national life. Maybe through the art, through culture, we'll be able to get the orientation that we need to give to our young people. Will be able to achieve that. So now the Art Horizon opened this afternoon. It's a major one, even though it's happening just at the museum there. But in terms of idea, because I like to deal with ideation. In terms of idea, is a very big project. This is the first one that they're doing, and they intend to move it around. Now, what is Art Horizon? Very soon I'll be sharing an interview I did with Juliet Ezenwa Pierce, who is the chief visionary of that project. She'll be talking to us about what they're trying to do. And then we'll meet a legend of African art, Roland Ogiame, who is one of the major artists. I mean, by next year, it will be 60 years that I started producing artwork. And I'm selling it, and I was not even born there. So I met him today. I was surprised. He was the oldest person among the people there, himself and Tamfio Fori. And he said he felt very happy to be in the midst of those young people. So the Art Horizon Art Festival 2021 is put together by Art Alliance 51. And Juliet will be able to explain that to us. They have a project that will last for 14 days. It opened today, and it's going to run on until September 3rd or so. That they have a daily program. I have the full program here. I hope I'll be able to read through all of this program as we go on. But after today, it is a festival that is bringing both performance, performing art, and visual arts together in one room. And what she said is that it is better to start to network the visual and the performing arts and literature and music into one. So that, because most artists they are painters, they're also poets, or they are musicians and they are poets, they are painters, or they are actors, and all of these things are mixed. I just think that Art Horizon, we should start to redefine art, and that when we do that, we begin to reposition the art in the consciousness of people. Then from 7 o'clock, which is in another 12 minutes or so, we'll be taking on the Return to Idoto 3, the third edition, which is happening currently as we're talking now. They opened 2 days ago, and it's ending tomorrow. But they have a session this evening, and I've lined up about 3 of the poets to talk to. James Eze, who is the star poet for the edition. There's Daggar Tolar, and then there's Anote Ajeluorou. Unfortunately, the only female lady who was going to be part of them could not make it. That's Evelyn Osage, a poet I love to listen to. She could not make it there. But then there are people there, the events are going on. If you check on Facebook, you see quite a lot of images that they've been taking. So what I'll try to do currently now is to, first of all, share the file, the interview I had with Juliet, who is the chief visionary of this particular project. Let me see if all of us can see that. Once again, all of you on Zoom and those who are listening to us on radio, you're welcome to Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the Nigerians and African diaspora up to speed. Now, let's listen to Juliet, who is the curator and chief visionary for Art Arising 2021.
So Art is open today, so what is the from the last time?
It's very fulfilling to see everybody, all the participants, all the exhibitors present here. And already we're just grateful to God that it has happened. And we are all here, we're inviting all art lovers, and all those who want to see the growth of the visual art sector. We're expecting them here, we want to see them here, we want to engage with them. And we prepare this wonderful festival and invite them to come.
As a curator, this is your curator producer. So you get your expectation of what you plan.
Yes.
In terms of content.
Far better than what I planned. It's a great turnout. It's an impressive appearance and event so far. We can only hope that we can grow it from here. This is a starting point. So we can now grow it from here. So far, the turnout is good.
Can you do a quick, whatever you can tell me about the program?
It's a 14 days program.
Every day?
Yes, 14 days every day. Today is the official opening ceremony day. Tomorrow the artists, participants and exhibitors will do interview sessions like this. And we'll still welcome the guests and visitors to the show. And then on Monday we have a performance art day. And the performance artists are going to put up an impressive show for us. We're going to engage the public as well. There will be a live performance and there will be the indoor performance. And so which we are going to do. And all of it we are going to still encounter on the Art Arising and Art Alliance YouTube channel and website. Now on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we have discussions.
To ensure to sign the visitors both outside. Thank you.
In terms of the public, what does Art Alliance, what do you expect from the public?
Support.
Please go to ensure to sign the visitors both outside.
Engage with the artists and give any kind of support that they can. Appreciate the work and the effort we are putting in. We are making this sector more viable, and in the nearest future, we would like to encourage a lot more youth to take up careers in the visual arts rather than resort to all kinds of criminal activities.
That was Juliet, who is the curator and the chief visionary and producer of this particular exhibition. But the one I would really love you to listen to, who try to give a context to this, is Pa Roland Ogiame, who is going to be 80 next year and who will be 60 years on 60 years in practice. Who was there? And I was asking him, I said, sir, why do you have to join these young people? You are an old person, and you are an older person, and you join them, and I think we should listen to him. Paul Game has been on this trade for 60 years. By next year, he will be 60 years, and he explained, he tried to give a context to what is happening. Then later we have Dr. Adeyemi also, who gave an educational dimension to what is going on. Please bear with me. This is Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, and then we're bringing the diaspora up to speed. At 7 o'clock, we'll be joining Idoto. We'll be calling up those poets to perform and then as well as to talk to us. Well, let me first of all share Pa Ogiame's own perspective about Art Arising, which is happening currently at the National Museum in Lagos. I hope his own audio is better anyway.
So for you to be participating in this exhibition, what does it mean to you? You are dealing with younger people and you are a legend already.
Well, my younger artists like to see me. They always like to see me. By the grace of God, by next year, I'll be 60 years old in art.
Wow.
So you can know that most of my generation are no more to perform. Some of the only few of us are still around. Well, coming to this exhibition is a privilege to be among the younger artists. looking at them, I've seen most of them, they are all my children. So I try to encourage them that in art, there's no old age, as long as you are still living. So that is one of the reasons that I always like to be present. Again, I always tell them that art is like an elephant. When you kill an elephant now, you don't share it. Anybody who comes there, anybody who comes, you have his own part to take. Nobody controls you. How small, how big you take away. That is art. There's always room. There's always enough for people to explore and to enjoy the art. So that is another area. When I was invited to this exhibition, I don't think I will come, but the pressure from my younger one, when like the organizer, Juliet. So, Daddy, we need you. The young artists want to see you. Because I always present at Daggar Tolar, I'm a time of job.
Yeah.
This is so, since the past 2 or 3 months, I've asked me to report them. I told them, no, I will not be available. I'm already coming here. One. I also have another project that I'm executing in Benin for my friend, so, with all this project, that place I'm occupied. So, as long as God has given me good net, I want to be relevant.
For the edition, did you work on a specific thing or not? The whole project is authorized. Yes. Did you work on a theme or just pick some of your works to display?
You see, I have accumulated works for the past years.
60 years ago?
Yes, I have accumulated work stored in my house.
Okay.
What you see now, if you look at it, most of the work were done long ago. Only a few are just of recent. But the recent one mostly are in. There is no work done between done here about last 3 years. They are all modern. But the current work they are in my house and they are small work. The bigger one they are not as big as this. So I am still producing. But your question is, how do I make up my works? Nobody gives me the tape of what I should work on. It is through my imagination in relationship with my cultural background. And I also have some work that are just of current event or what I think will happen in the future. So that's what you have.
So what do you expect of art horizon going forward?
Yes, I've just told the children that this is just the beginning. She should do more than this in the future. Because she's an artist. I know her for long. She's one of the Amateur Workshop so this is just her beginning. I've told her to go into every younger artist to rise. So this art arising now is our first step in the right direction. I've told her that already and I know she will pick up.
Yeah, now this will be the last question. For the Nigerian public, the public and the consuming public, how do you expect them to receive this or to approach this? What should the art arising be expected?
I think the purpose of this art rising is to bring the art lover closer to the artist. And the artists themselves, they want to get the fruit of their labor through patronage. So that is what we expect from the public.
Is this something that can attract corporate sponsorship?
Well, that one used to happen before. Because when we were growing young, when we were young, in the 70s, 80s, different people used to sponsor art exhibitions. The embassies, individual companies, everybody used to sponsor. But now, I don't know what's actually happening. Is that because of the economy also? I don't know. You see, that classification. So that is one of the problems, but it doesn't happen so in developed world. So that in Nigeria or other countries like that, plastic art or visual art, they are more meaningful to people. But it's what you can take away. People, it's what people can see in your house. They are treasures. I know in the 17th, 18th, we have a lot of collectors. People like Atomba, Samuel Nagbaju, Rashid Amosi, Sample. So most of us are gone, and the people like Makodwa, they are old now. Even as I have said all these messages in the last one. So we want to encourage the young generation to come into art collection. All these flashy cars they are buying from 10 million, 20 million, it doesn't, they are liabilities. But all these are not liabilities. That is why you see people like Brother Mosi, before he died, the way he arranged his work, this they have a place in his Kurudu, where you call Krilo Pavilion. I've been there for 2 generations. People like Samuel Nagbaju, because he did art in his house. So, it's the same thing to the son. He says the musician is doing now.
Yes.
So the man already has built made name for himself with the collaboration with the artist. So then all the old artists, both the living and the dead, they are all because they are dead. That is what we are looking for. The yoga life to believe.
Thank you very much. Legend yourself, Obiame, and you've been on the cultural train of Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora up to
Thank you.
That's Pa Roland Ogiame, who is the oldest artist featuring at the exhibition where we just came. I just opened this afternoon. And Art Rising, because I know that the poets have joined us now from Idoto. I can see James Seze. I've not seen you for a long time. James here. I mean, congrats on what is happening in Idoto, but I'll get to you now. I've seen Daggar Tolar, the activist himself. And I've seen Anote. I've seen Michael Anjoni and Dr. Wale Okigbo too is there. And Godwin Okondo. Sorry about the sound, Godwin, because you really lodged a complaint. What we've done since we started this to see what Art Rising is doing. Art Rising is produced by a collective of artists called Art Alliance, and they've been able to bring poetry and visual art and other performing arts, including film, because they'll be screening some films next Saturday. They brought all these arts together into one room. Art Rising means to reposition the art and make sure that the Nigerian public begin to see the art as a viable option. It's not just about when we talk about our cultural life, we speak almost in as if in abstract, as if the art should live in silos. So what they did was to bring all of them together, which is what we do. You know that most poets are writers. Most poets are visual artists. Most visual artists are writers themselves. Performing artist, you can be an actor and you are a poet and you are a visual artist. You can draw, you can paint, you can do stuff. But we don't necessarily connect all of this. I'm not talking about culture, like a cultural festival. In an art festival, we need to be bringing all of this together. So that's what Art Rising has been doing. And now they open today. They're going to run for 14 days. And the last person you saw speaking there is the legend himself, who is Pa Roland Ogiame, who has been for 60 years on this business. And so we've been able to listen to him, giving context to what is happening. He said he felt very energized to come among these young people and be part of the Art Rising beginning, because he knew that it will continue. And he said that he wants Nigerian corporate world and Nigerian themselves to embrace Art Rising so that they can put some valuation on the art as a vocation and as a profession. So now we're moving to the main one for today, which is the return to Idoto. So 3 times now I've been trying to be part of this, and I've not been part of that. So James, I'm going to put you on the spot. How come I've not been part of this? Is it because I'm a poemist? Hello, James. Hello, James. Don't tell me there's no light in Oka or in Idoto because your video is black. Hello, James. I think he's struggling with the picture there. Well, James, you can speak, and then I'm sure the camera will it will come up eventually. Okay, James. Yeah, James, congratulations on what is happening in Idoto. I want to speak to you for because you are wearing 2 caps. You are one of the founders of the Awka Literary Society, so the promoters of the return to Idoto, and as well as the star poet for this particular edition. Can you bring us up to speed on what is happening there? But let me first of all tell you that this is Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora up to speed. What we do is we broadcast more to the Africans in diaspora. And the whole idea is to let them understand what is going on here, to be part of what is going on here. Because many of them, they reach us in the back end of this station that they want to know what is going on, but they have no opportunity to have the information. So we are trying to make sure that they are part of what is happening here by exposing to them what is going on. So they keep on locking this down, and then they can plan their program again next time when they want to come through. So, James, Eze, I leave it to you. So, what is happening?
Well, a whole lot is happening, German. Okay. But before I take you through what has been going on in the past 3 days in Anambra State, I would like to first commend your effort because you have created a platform that I believe is very, very important, connecting lovers of culture, arts, and literature spread across different continents of the world. It takes passion, it takes zeal, and it takes commitment to stay focused on what you're doing. So thank you, German, for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, what has been going on in Anambra State is a renaissance of sorts. If I might say so, I would say that Anambra is a state that gave us some of Africa's most important writers. So what we, my friends and I, what my friends and I, who are members of the Awka Literary Society, do is to celebrate the life and legacies of the late Christopher Okigbo in poetry and song in his own hometown of Ojoto, and then before the great watery presence of the famous Idoto River. Yeah. Okay, I think German, I can
see your face now.
Okay, yeah. So we have just come out, we have just left the Idoto waterfront in Ojoto. Yeah. And it has been a magnificent process, you know, of immersing ourselves in the myths and mysteries of Christopher Okigbo's craft, his personality, his religion, and his culture. And we began 2 days ago when we had a literary evening, a reading in Awka, you know, a very serene place, lush green grass, where the poets who were chosen this year to participate in the festival gathered, and we had you know, something like a welcome reading for everyone, and it was really a wonderful experience. Yesterday, we had the bonfire night in the Okigbo compound, and the participating poets had a chance to actually you know, pay their tributes to Okigbo before his tombstone in his compound. And the poets filed out, paid their tributes, and before the reading, the proper reading began, and it was really a feast of words over a smoldering bonfire. When you finally get to watch the documentary that we're trying to put together, you would see, you know, the efforts made by each poet to come to the party in the real sense of it. You know, Okigbo was a man whose pursuit of excellence was almost incomparable. And that was why he left us a slim volume of work that has remained matchless through the ages. So all the poets who filed out to honor Okigbo last night at the bonfire came out with all guns blazing. Daggar Tolar gave us a mesmeric performance. Ife Snachinwadike was way out of his personal limits in his performance. So was Nwachukwu, what's his son name? Nwachukwu Ebunike. On my own part, because I have been around, I try to also do my best, because I owe a lot to Okigbo and what he left successive generations of African poets. So it was a wonderful evening yesterday. Then today we continued our efforts to honor Okigbo again. We formally broke his birthday cake, which is what we usually do, because you know this festival is timed to coincide with Okigbo's birthday. Okigbo was born in August. Okay. So Okigbo was born on the 16th of August. Oh, wow. But yeah, so that's why we had to break his birthday cake in the compound today, before we moved on to a series of ritualistic ceremonies, you know, spotlighting Okigbo's childhood. You know, we had to walk on the pathway that Okigbo usually took down to Idoto, right from his father's compound through different stages. It's about a 2 kilometers walk to the river Idoto. And the organizers of the Return to Idoto have marked different stages of the progression, which we refer to as various stations of words. So it begins from Okigbo, from the Okigbo compound to the Upakoto shrine. You know, Okigbo's grandfather, maternal grandfather, was a priest of Idoto. So, and we went to the shrine. We read snatches of Okigbo's poems there, especially Heaven's Gate, the passage. It went from each station of words. We made that progression. There are about 4 stages before we got to the river Idoto itself. And right before the watery presence of Idoto, of river Idoto, with our feet immersed in water, we read Heaven's Gate, the passage, and Dark Waters of the Beginning, you know, which were excerpts from Okigbo's, you know, labyrinth. And it was such a magnificent view, with the poets' feet in water and their voices upraised, invoking Okigbo's avatar, and in absolute surrender of our crafts, so that we become better artists and better craftsmen. Having drunk of the spell of the master, having immersed ourselves in the ritualistic baptism that Okigbo underwent, we left the waterfront, you know, better poets, I presume, and then proceeded to the bamboo grove where the actual performance took place. And each poet had a chance again to share their works in the bamboo grove. It was a very splendid show. This year's edition of Return to Idoto was outstanding in the sense that for the first time, the entire Ojoto town came together and agreed that this program had become their own initiative. That going forward, they would identify with the efforts of the organizers in a more pronounced way. The Igwe of Ojoto
Hello? Hello, James?
Hello, I'm back. I'm back online.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Somebody should tell Odili to stop calling me now. So he hosted us to a dinner, and it was we had a very good outing. The Igwe of Obosi himself, Eze Obosi, who is a poet, was on hand to receive us. And earlier this evening, he also came over to share his poems. He read to the young audience and impressed all of us with his stunning delivery of his poems. So as I talk to you now, we are about to head to the historic ancient town of Nri, where the former Chief Judge of Anambra State, Justice Peter Umadi, is waiting to give the poets and all the people who participated in this year's edition another significant and memorable dinner.
Okay.
So we are headed to Nri.
So I'm holding your dinner. I'm holding up your dinner then.
Yes, somehow.
Something like that.
But it's good. It's good that we're having this conversation because the world has to know. You're helping us put it across to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and everywhere.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, that we are making the best out of the challenges we have in the country. That we have not lost enthusiasm for life and art. We are still here and will continue to represent and do our best to preserve the heritage that the first generation of writers and poets and singers and novelists left us. The fire that they put on our palms will not die.
Thank you very much. You spoke like the poet that you are. I mean, I like the way you put everything in context. Now, let me just fire one last question. I want to go to Daggar Tolar. As the star poet for the year, what does it mean? Because you are the star poet for the year. And apart from being a co-convener, you're also the star poet.
Yes, as the star poet of the year, it means so much to my career as a poet. It means that my fellow writers and poets have finally recognized my contribution to the community of writers. I won't say my contribution to the Nigerian letters yet, because I'm still so much work in progress. I'm still trying to hone my skills. I'm still trying to build my body of works before I can begin to look at the possibilities of being named amongst distinguished poets in the country. So I am work in progress, but it is gratifying to see that my fellow poets considered me worthy of headlining this year's edition of Return to Idoto. And I did my best to justify their confidence in me, because most of the works I shared during this festival were actually there are different versions of the works I shared. Some were poems that I have converted into songs, and the audience had the opportunity to listen to the poem as I read most of them, and then listen to them presented as songs. So to me, it marks a major turning point in my artistic growth as a poet and as a worker in symbols.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving the context to this. I don't want to hold up your dinner. I will have held you down to ask you to continue talking, but I know you have to also coordinate.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you to do a poem, but let me get to Daggar Tolar, and then maybe we'll wrap it up on that before you go for the dinner. Is Daggar Tolar behind you there? I saw him.
Yes, he is.
In the backup.
Yes, he is.
AJ Daggar Tolar.
I can hear you loud and clear.
with your gobi. How now? Now, AJ.
Representing.
Yes. So James has given us a general overview of what has happened. As someone who also curates a regular program on AJ Daggar Tolar is the founder of AJ Poetry. As someone who coordinate that kind of who create that kind of what does the return to Idoto mean to you? I mean, what have you seen? How can you sum it up before I take it to the journalist Anote?
Well, let me say that just like the point has been made earlier by James Easy, that the cultural train is one new vehicle that we want to applaud, and the wheels of this train is cutting across boundaries, borders, continents, and internationally with a clear vision of pointing out that the entirety of its art and cultural practice in this part of the world can be reconfigured and projected to a larger space. We want to give a huge applause to this effort, and all patronage to this effort and encouragement, should be done from all quarters. Having said that, the question of what one will be living here with is to further entrench the path to poetry, the path to art. And I've categorized this as 3 commissions, and which are clearly expressed in the lives of Okigbo himself. The very first commission is the commission of reading, which will either be text, which will either be a reading of one's own life experience. A second commission is the commission of self-discovery. And each of these commissions were commissions that Okigbo went through. Okigbo spent ample time in Fiditi, not just in the library, not just limiting himself to text, dwelling himself in existing traditions in relation to poetry, but from that very moment, seeing his own every life experience, his birth, his history, as part of books he must read. And this, in Okigbo's life again, we meet with the second commission. This second commission is the commission of self-discovery. And we meet this again in the life of Okigbo, where Okigbo, has clearly expressed, which a lot of us here today have experienced since this journey commenced the past 2 days. That great poem, The Passage, where Okigbo presents himself nakedly before Mother Idoto, pleading, and announcing his new rebirth, becomes the basis of self-discovery for every poet, for every artist. Because it is this self-discovery that allows the poet, the artist, the cultural activist to commence a discussion with history, with religion, with traditions. And I'm happy to announce here that the scorecard for Okigbo in this second commission was a scorecard of a dispute against tradition as exists in the status quo, against history as existed in colonialism, to commence a rebirth of himself. These are 2 clear commissions that are important for those who think that Okigbo dropped out of the sky. Okigbo is a product of continuous hard work on his path. And of course, we go to a very third important commission for the artist and for the poet. And we meet this third commission in the life of Christopher Okigbo. And what is this third commission? I haven't gone through a commission of reading, learning. You return to a commission of self-discovery. There is the next third critical question to pose as to what to do with one's life. It is this third commission.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it is this third commission. Yeah, it is this third commission of what to now do with one's life. After reading and learning, after one's self-discovery, and the answer that is posed, that we meet with the enormous beauty of the life that Okigbo lives. Because in this third commission, we meet with Okigbo dedicating himself to recreating new poems that are further enshrined in permanently into life. Not just that, to commence a dialogue with society and with country, and use his craft as a basis of all of this dialogue. But this is the whole question of a third commission that a lot of poets and cultural activists are unable to approach. But yet, Okigbo was not just a third commissioner of the pen only. His dialogue with society, his dialogue with what he will do with his life was a dialogue that extended to a prophecy for himself, a prophecy that he was not shy to be part of, to pick up a gun, and be part of the process of constructing a new society. The fact that people like Alim Mazuri concluded in the trials of Christopher Okigbo that the poet and the artist is commissioned only to write and not to be involved in life, not to be involved in the process of how a society will be transformed, a statement that Okigbo completely rejects. But I think fundamentally and important in this journey for all of us here today is to say that all of the critical questions that Okigbo posed in relation to Nigeria, in relation to Africa, are still as fresh as ever. And which means that we must use this experience to re-challenge the entirety of poets, of musicians, of artists, of cultural activists, to begin to fully understand the essence of Okigbo's life. And that essence is that we have a duty, and that duty is that our commitment to writing is not enough. We must employ our lives as instruments to dialogue with society, to see how society could be reconstructed and a better life constructed for the whole of humanity.
Thank you very much. This is why it is good to talk to poets. You know, you just put everything into context. And you know, as you were talking, I could see in the background the picture of the poster of somebody who is aspiring to be governor. And we were talking about the place of poetry and literature and art. And I'm looking at that poster, and I hope the man can hear. If you cannot hear, please give me his name, so I'll send this video to him so he can understand. But you know, there is also a beautiful picture I was seeing. Don't mind me. I'm not going to talk politics. I'm going to get my sack like a phone. You know, as we were talking, I also noticed in the background, that was Fumachuku Ebunike, right? That was one of the guest poets.
Yes.
Will I be able to talk to him? Can you unmute Wachuku? I'm great to see you there. Hello. Okay. I have a feeling that it's the first time you'll be attending this, right?
Yes, it's my very first time.
Okay, so I need to take you fresh. Now you've gone there for the first time. I mean, the last time Okigbo's daughter was around, Obiageli was around. And if you know Obiageli very well, very, very cerebral, very passionate about what she does, multi-talented too. But she's not there this year, I'm sure. So what's your impression of Ojoto and then of Idoto and of the whole experience of return to Idoto? Because this is conceptual. For me, this is exactly what we need. So what does it mean to you?
No, it's profoundly sublime because it's one of those things that words in itself. Life is essentially the words in itself are so poor to be able to really capture and grasp. It was a journey, pilgrimage for me. John is enter bus again. Let me bring it in the bus. Let me bring it in the bus. It's just as it's so. I mean, for me, I've been the very first time, and it's something that I hope I'll be able to have a second or third lifetime to experience again. Because in essence, what we've been able to
go ahead, please. Hello.
do and what has this past few days is can you hear me? Sorry,
yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have to unmute my video because I ran that in that. What we've been able to experience, what I've been able to experience is something that will outlive my entire existence. And by entire existence, not just as a poet, but as a human being, because which is what makes it profoundly significant. And Daggar Tolar, James says they have spoken profoundly, but for a younger version of themselves, and which is where myself and Ife Chinwadike comes in. It's like a baptism in the hot coal of a living tradition, that we're able to immerse ourselves, and now not from the intellectual or conceptual stage, but in a very practical and very, very practical sense. So speaking, it was as if Okigbo himself came to life, and you could really breathe and feel his presence in all the journey.
Okay.
I mean, many of us, more often than not, had goosebumps at various encounters. It was as if his spirit was just hovering, and that was something that was quite significant. I don't know how else to put it. I say how to process it, and then perhaps with time now be able to really put my thoughts somehow into writing.
Yeah, even with the much that you have given, you have really put a lot of content behind what is going on. Now, there is some kind of ritual of immersion for you. That's what you're saying. You've got to immerse yourself, in the Okigbo tradition, and do you see, do you see this kind of experience being replicated, not just for Okigbo? Do you think it's something that you want to do for someone else, another legacy poet, legacy writer?
Yes, actually, as a matter of fact, one of the things that was quite significant and which I kept on repeating was that it's about time really that Odege and James and those of Waka Literary Society have really said things for us. It's about time we start celebrating our own, and there are many of them. Okay. Because it's one thing to read, it's one thing to experience in a writer's words, is another thing to live that experience. It's ritualistic. It's another thing, and that's what makes poetry what it is.
Yes.
And what makes poetry what it is. So imagine where you have, I mean, the Achebes of this world and so on and so forth, and also having this type of John is replicated around. It's going to do a lot. It's going to do a lot first for our craft, and of course, secondly, also for the wider community in which we are members of.
Okay. You know why I asked that last question? Because James Eze, he's still a young person, but he's been at this for a long time. Daggar Tolar, for decades he has been doing this. And at some point, they might start to get tired. But there are younger poets, younger artists who have even access to even better facilities or tools to work with. They are faster on the internet, on all the, how do I put it now? There are so many platforms open for them. They can do Instagram poetry and all of that. But you don't necessarily see them being involved in mobilizing poetry or literature for the advancement of society, because this is what James Eze and Odili and all people have been doing. That's what they're doing. So I wanted to ask you that, is it something that you think can be popular? Hello? Hello? I think I lost him. Hello, Gwinike? Hello? Oh, wow. I think I lost him there. I don't know what happened. Anote. Hello, Anote.
Anote is here. He's here with me.
Okay, you are.
Anote, go ahead.
Okay.
My connection is poor.
Yeah.
Okay, and Anote will talk to you presently.
But your face is fine. Well, I know you, Anote, to be a writer, a communicator, and a journalist, and a critic. You are there, even though James is there too. You're all critical, but you work more. But you work more as a critic. I'll come back to Ebunike because I lost him. So you are a critic there, and I will be able to be part of the experience. This is not your first time. So how do you encapsulate the entire experience, and what do you see, and what do you think we need to do better to continue to hold this particular project?
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jama and our boss. It's been quite a great experience over here at Idoto, and it's something that the entire world, entire country, the entire world should come and experience. Because poetry literally a goddess from a shrine, right? And it's amazing what these 4 poets have done in the last 3 days. Unfortunately, Evelyn Osagi couldn't make it because she took ill. But from James Eze to who is the staff poet of the festival, to Ebunike, whom we were speaking with a while ago, to Ife Sinachi, Madike, and AJ Daggar Tolar. It's been phenomenal. But of course, like every other cultural experience, there's need for expansion to make it bigger, to make it better as time goes on. But sincerely, between Odile Jubono and Mr. James Eze, they've actually done a great job in trying to immortalize this venerable poet who died at a very tender age. And because matched his words in action, at a very critical point in time in our history, the history of Nigeria. And so, Idoto was awakened, has been awakened these past 3 days. And it may never remain the same because even the king of the community, is Mbamadu, has actually put his weight behind the festival. And so perhaps going forward, there's going to be a bigger festival because the royalty has also joined. I mean, literature or the art as we know it, way back from Europe, 16th, 17th, 18th century Europe, was actually patronized by the cops, who made it big, who made it thick. And so when we have a royal patronage like that, coming in support of this festival, something that doesn't quite happen all the time. Of course, we really need to give kudos to that royalty, and then of course to the 2 gentlemen, Odile and James, who are spearheading this program on their own. It must be emphasized, And I mean, this is something that the state government will actually take up, and then they need to make. For them to make the Ojoto a destination, a cultural destination point.
I think so.
Where the entire world will come, and feast on this great man's legacy that he has left behind for us. And so, I'm urging my own capacity, urging the state government of Anambra State, led by William Obiano, he's leaving office in a few months, in a year to come, about a year or so. Whoever is coming in his stead should think about how to harness Ojoto cultural calendar, using Okigbo and what he has done to immortalize the goddess Idoto in such a way that the community will be a hub both for artists, poets, writers, musicians. The man was a musician, for Christ's sake. He was a great guitarist.
Okay, the question I wanted to put to you
was a librarian.
Okay,
he was right. Yes.
Yeah, he was a teacher, librarian, poet, guitarist, and a troublemaker too, which is art. I wanted to ask you how the community has responded to this. You spoke about the royalty. Yeah. How are the community in terms of, a festival should mobilize the community, should be a communal festival. How are the community responded to this? Talking as a critic.
Yes. Well, in my own estimation, Mr. Odile Jubono and James Eze, Mrs. Now, they've actually carried this flag all by themselves in this First and second is the third edition. And they tried their own capacities to engage and to participating in the festival. How this is work. It doesn't just work. For me, it's a work in progress, and the community. And of course, your family has been part of it. I mean, one must say. And the extended family, but the immediate and the extended family into it. I mean, like last night when the bonfire was held, the entire Okigbo, that is not enough for the stature of the man Okigbo that we are celebrating. The entire Ojoto community should gather in a point, where he will be feasted. And so for now, that may not have happened. And in fact, probably that's why the king of the community, Eze Mbamalu, suggested that instead of a 3-year, once in a 3-year program, shall we be shortened to 2 years, every 2 years.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that Mr. Eze and Mr. Ojeluorou are thinking that line as well, to make it, a little closer, so that people don't forget. I mean, we forget very easily in this part of the world. So 3 years is quite a lifespan. People will forget that it happened 3 years ago. So if it's 2 years, in fact, I would even suggest every year.
I think every year is more like it.
Yes,
if more the right funding, people's memory. Yes,
exactly. If the right funding is there, then every year would be just amazing. And then beyond reading, I mean, performances by the poets invited for the festival. For me, there should also be a scholarly aspect of the festival.
Okay.
By which I mean that a symposium where scholars of Okigbo, we come here, we gather in Ojoto and discuss this man Okigbo, represent him in all the various scholarly aspects that he represents, even religious scholars, because the man also his poetry was deeply
scholarly.
Religious.
Scholarly, yeah.
Yes, the African culture, the African religious culture should be properly.
The network is really, just as somebody observed in the room, that the network is really a big problem for all of us today. Daggar Tolar has posted a poem, and I would like him to come at the end of it.
That kind of to the to read. Yes. So when this scholarly aspect is also introduced into it, that would further expose the man and his work, and then the Ojoto phenomenon, the mystery of the Ojoto river, the Ojoto goddess, also make it. People would really imbibe it more, and even the path to the Ojoto river, for me, it's still in its good infancy. It should be further expanded. It should be paved, as a matter of fact. And then the shores of Ojoto River, where the final, one of the final ceremonies was held, the reading of Ojoto, Okigbo's poetry, should be properly paved in a way that tourists can go there, just have the feel of the environment. The way it is right now, it's still in its, sad to say, the way Okigbo left it over 50 years ago. It shouldn't be. Why would we still walk through mud and boats to get to Ojoto in the 21st century, for Christ's sake? All right? But this is where the government should come in and harness the tourism potential that Ojoto represents, which for now is lacking because no attention has been paid to it. But these two gentlemen, Mr. Eze and Mr. Ojeluorou, have blazed a trail, and it will be, it will just be a snap of the finger, proper realization of what Ojoto is to come into play, because the the awareness has been created by what they've done in the past 9 years. All right. So going forward, how do we make it better? To say the government comes in and the way I see it, I mean, a little money will get that place into proper, shape. When people will come in from all over the world, drive into the place, drive into the group, the bamboo groups that provide the shelter, for artistic expression, for entertainment, for fun generally, even picnic. So what is wrong with if we had Idoto picnic? Idoto went to picnic, which people come every quarter of the year, for instance. All right. It doesn't take so much to do that. But sadly, part of the world is a little bit behind the times and things like this. But this is what I've harnessed in other parts of the world to make for a great cultural showpiece. Okigbo and Ojoto and Idoto are waiting for this phenomenal reawakening, rehabilitation, for that place to be turned into a place that it should be.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anote. You spoke like the critic that you are, and you're a writer too. And you really put the word out there. But one would also like to commend the Anambra State government. They launched the Chino Achebe prize for literature. Prize, yes, hopefully, I think they are waking up to things like that. I'm sure that the governor is a very enlightened person. If you see the kind of project I'm doing, I'm sure what we're doing will draw his attention to it. And I know that the commissioner, that's Sidon Adinuba, right? Sidon Adinuba. I think that's the commissioner for
culture.
For culture, yeah. He's also very much.
Okay, Sidon Adinuba. Okay,
yeah, he's a very cultured person. He's into literature. Okay. We ran the literary society, literary series together at the Ghana. So, yeah. You want to say something, or is it James? I wanted to go to the first national. James. Okay, wait.
James is here.
James is in government. So why is your government not interested? Let me put you on the spot. Throw you under the bus. Why are you not whispering to the governor to say, Mr. Governor?
Well, thank you for bringing that aspect up. Of course, the government of Anambra State, as represented by the governor of Anambra State, with whom I work, showed a lot of interest when we came up with this idea, and supported the very first edition of Return to Idoto. But subsequently, I think the thinking was that private individuals, private sector should also identify with the initiative in a more pronounced way. We still enjoy the support of the government in the sense that we are in a tour bus, as I speak with you now, provided by the government. We have a proper tour bus, that is conveying us from place to place. So at least that the aspect of logistics in terms of movement is taken care of by the government. So there is support from the government, but it is not in it hasn't come in a way that would enable us to do all the things that Anote has enumerated about doing things in a proper way, having the access route to Idoto properly built up, making the place more tourist friendly, and creating the kind of scenery that you and I know would have been the case if such initiative as this were taking place overseas or somewhere else. So to that extent, we still need support, and it would be wonderful if we enjoy more support, not only from Anambra State government, but from the billionaires we have in Anambra State. We have a lot of billionaires.
That is true.
Be investment in the cultural sector.
That is true.
Talking about Obi all the time, in a way that makes it look just like the culture and artistic sector are left out of the thing, because what we are doing at this moment in traditions, touchstones, the protocols that we guide the future generation, of our people. And it is important that, the billionaires in Anambra State who are quick to brandish their fat wallet should identify with this initiative. How much does it cost to get all these things we are talking about, done? It doesn't cost so much.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we are calling for attention, we are calling for assistance. Government cannot do all of this alone. I think the government of Anambra State has done enough, because without the encouragement they gave us in the first edition of this program, we would have been discouraged. If you recall, the first edition of the program, we had Tade Batolan, Coach Uche Umesurike, Ikwo, Diana Bassi. They all came here after the reading. The governor hosted us to a dinner. And that in itself was not just an endorsement, but an encouragement to what we had set out to do. But it would be unproductive to continue to lean on the government all the time.
That is true. Yeah, I understand, and I say amen. And Spirit of Nigeria Radio, we're dealing more with the diaspora, and you have a lot of Anambrarians in the diaspora. I'm sure they're listening now, and we will do our best to make sure. In fact, I think we'll do another edition of this where we can actually articulate. Or I know you are in the bus, that's why the network keeps failing. Yes. I saw another guest poet. Did that first last? Yes, I'd like to hear from him too. Yes. And then please tell Daggar Tolar the poetry he shared in the room, he has to perform it, even if he just a stanza of it. He has put himself in trouble by sharing that poem. He has put himself in trouble by sharing that poem. You now have to say it. So, if that's naturally in 2 minutes, please. Do you think? You have been there. This may be your first time, but do you think, this is the question I was trying to put to Igbinike the other time, do you think that this is something that can appeal to poets of your generation, young people, young poets? Is this a project that they can embrace? The first nation.
Oh yes, I think so, wholeheartedly. Yes, in the sense that you could have read Okigbo in class, or as a poet that you wanted to model your work after, or it is another thing to live through the experiences. When you go about talking about how much affectionate Mother Idoto as a poem is to you and your journey as a writer, there's a different feeling in coming down here to the cradle of this poet, to come, feel, touch, walk through the journey. There's 7 stations, like the organizers will call it, with Okigbo. Get to the Umaka tree where he used to rest, have a knee deep into the river that he talked about, the one we now refer to as poetry's famous river. Then to other shrines that he usually stops by whenever he wants to have a rest. So living through these experiences becomes multi-inspirational, in the sense that you're not just reading him on paper. It's just as if it's like a biology class after teaching you about reproduction, and then you are taken to a lab where you are shown the practicals. So we've read the theory, we've read the book of what Okigbo meant when he talked about the passage. Now we are going through that rite of passage ourselves. So I think it is instructive that younger poets come have this experience too. They need to come and feel this too, so that by the time they get back, who knows, we could have a new generation of poets who want to belong to that tradition already established by Christopher Okigbo. So yes, I agree with you, and I think it is correct or it is important, imperative that younger poets have to undergo these rites too. So we need to give the organizers all the support they need to put words out there that this is one festival that has come to stay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ifesinachi. I mean, I'm happy that a young person like you, a young poet like you, was part of that experience. I'm sure that you'll be able to spread the gospel of it because you have the language to communicate with fellow younger poets. I have just less than 5 minutes to go, and I want Daggar Tolar to perform that poem. In any way that I want to do it, you can do that now, so that we wrap up on that. You have been on Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, and I would like Daggar Tolar, my brother, a poet, to lead us out of this program for this edition. I'm happy to be hosting poets. Daggar Tolar, please.
For you who cannot be like Okigbo.
Thank you.
For you who cannot be like Okigbo, live and then don't die. For you cannot find a reason of freedom to wield a gun. Live and don't die. The death of a stray bullet shot by the blaring, deafening sirens, clearing jaga commode for road for the singular passage of a vagabond in power. Live and don't die anymore. From the bullets protecting the rights of cow to walk the naked street against the flow of traffic, to crush crops and eat up harvest of farmland, as cow flees the scourging heat of the desert, dry lakes and famine, and the grazing colony is no more there, but there to make humans homeless for the right of a cow to eat grass down south. Yes, you cannot be Okigbo. Poems can be all green and white of peace, but you forget youths wielding the green, white, green. We are totally shot at the toll gate by bullets paid to protect life. You can't on Thunder Path walk even as elephants. The same old elephant no longer talk of sharing pumpkin. The law has vegetation, everything daring, property of the rulers, not for public usage, for free looting, save for new sun gods, to pillage our sacred being and cut up our flesh and portions out to feast the shack of prophetess. For the one reason that you cannot be like Okigbo. Aso Rock will avail you of the presidential jet when your frail frame falls in. And as usual, blood the cares if doctors never call up their strike.
Oh, network. Hello, Daggar. The network does spoil our poetry. Daggar was on it, and hello, Daggar. Hello, Daggar Tolar. Oh, okay. Yeah, you have the last stanza to go. Daggar Tolar, can you conclude the last stanza? I'm reading along with you. He said, when the doctors who don't care if the doctor never call up their strike. That was where you stopped. You are muted. You are muted. You are muted. Hello? You are muted. Yeah, go on.
Can you hear now?
I hear you now. Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
So the one reason that you cannot be like Okigbo. Aso Rock will avail you of the presidential jet when your frail frame falls ill, and as usual, who bloody hell cares if doctors never call off their strike? The rain certainly will fall and flood away not any other blood but humans' blood, and those who will be struck down by lightning, like the dead yesterday, like today, are not going to be different from the lot of all of those who are not willing to live and die like Okigbo. There are no leaves no more on the trees. The pumpkin to be looted to stock up the barn is our flesh and blood.
Daggar Tolar, thank you very much for leading us out of this program exactly at 8 o'clock. the Daggar Tolar sign off as AJ Daggar Tolar. Thank you very much, all the poets. I wish we have more time, but I've told James Eze we're going to have a special session where it is just about this project, so that we see how we can package it and sell it to the world. Thanks everyone who has been part of this experience. I thought I could get Dr. Wale Okigbo, but he's here from Ghana. But then Michael Anjoli, thank you. Everyone who has been part of this, our listeners who are not on Zoom, but they are listening to us, and we have quite a lot of them in the diaspora. We'll see how we can get diaspora interested in this. I wish you a splendid dinner with Chief Philip Imeagi, and a safe return to your station and a safe conclusion of this festival. So we thank Odili, Bujono, and James Eze for putting this, for initiating this, and the Awka Literary Society. We know that this is just the beginning, and it gets only better. It's been Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora up to speed. And we've been talking in the last 1 hour with the poet pilgrims to Idoto, where they're participating in the ritual, according to Ibunike. It's a ritual, actually, the return to Idoto 3. Well, we hope to be there with you the next time. Hopefully, it will come to be a yearly program or every 2 years. Whatever way it goes, it deserves all the support. Thank you and good night. Have a splendid dinner while I go to drink some water too. These are the Culture Train for this week. Thank you. The Culture Train this week on Spirit of Nigeria Radio. For you, our listeners who are not on Zoom, thank you very much for tuning in and for listening to us. We'll be back here next week. Bye.
Thank you so very much.
Bye. Thank you.